Now, the style guide is one thing. It helps you write good code, it helps you name your files. But there's another aspect that you should keep in mind if you're working on bigger projects. And that is related to how you organize your files. Thus far, we have the source folder, and in there we have a components folder with all our Vue components. This is a typical structure and there's nothing wrong with it, but in bigger projects, this of course will reach certain limits. If you have a project with hundreds of components, having them all in one folder can be very hard to manage. You might have a hard time finding the components you're looking for. Therefore, you might want to consider creating subfolders. For example, we could create a subfolder named base or UI for all those base components, like the card here. So I'm moving the base card there, I'm moving the base badge here. Of course, when you do that, you want to make sure that you update all the imports you're using. So in main.js, I'm now importing base badge from components/UI base badge, and the same for the base card. Otherwise, Vue will not be able to find these things and your project will break. Now that's the folder for the general base components. We could also create a subfolder inside of the components folder named layout, where we place things like the header or the footer if you have one. So therefore, of course, make sure you also update the import here in app.vue in our case. And then you might have various other components which you might want to organize by feature. If you're building an online shop application, for example, you could have a subfolder named cart, where you have all the cart related components. You could have a subfolder named checkout for the checkout related components, one named products for the components that are dealing with outputting products, and so on. Now here I have various demo components because this here in the end isn't a real app which we're building, and therefore I will just leave them here. But in the next module, we're going to use everything we learned about components over the last modules, and we're going to build a full application from scratch. And there you will see a proper folder structure in place to manage all the components, because there we'll then have a real application where this makes more sense. For now, just be aware of the fact that you might need to restructure your folders here at some point to keep your code manageable.